Question. What do you get when you have a crappy written script, written by a crappy writer, who is also the crappy director and star of a movie? You have The Room. Kenny and I watched The Room about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I had watched it by myself first, and I said, Kenny, you have to see this movie because you will not believe how bad it is. How bad was it?
Pretty bad. It had to be the worst. Worst movie ever made.
So the story was written by director Tommy Wiseau. Wiseau, I don't know how you pronounce it. I believe he's French because he has an accent. His English is so broken. And the first line in the movie, he walks in the door and the first thing he says, "Hi, babe." Just like that. The main character, Johnny, if you look this up on YouTube, we are not making this up. Pretty much, I'd say 300 times in the film, he has this kind of snicker where something funny will be said, and he'll just go, and every time, for some reason, he feels like he has to tip his head back and close his eyes. Yeah, right, that's a good joke. I got it.
It's exactly like that.
I know, it's exactly like that. It's awful. Even things that aren't funny, he would like try to, sarcastically, yeah, that's great. Yes, I get that.
Bad line pacing. Absolutely the worst I've ever seen in any single movie. Matt, tell us about that line pacing. The flower shop.
There's a scene in a flower shop. Johnny walks in to buy a dozen red roses for his fiancée Lisa. And he comes up and he says, "Oh, hi, I'd like a dozen red roses, please." To which the flower shop worker says,
"Oh, hi, Johnny, I didn't notice it was you."
He's wearing sunglasses and like that masks his entire identity. What does he think he is, like a superhero or something? So she goes and grabs the flowers, and let's just recreate exactly the pacing that happens in that scene. Johnny walks in. "Hi, I need a dozen red roses."
"Oh, hi, Johnny, I didn't know it was you."
Then she grabs the roses. "Haha, that's me. How much is it?"
"That'll be $18.
"Here you go. Hi, doggy. Thanks.
You're my best customer."
Bye." And throughout that scene, I mean,
look it up online if you really.
Yeah, go on YouTube and do The Room. Well, you're on YouTube right now, so just go up there and type, after this video's over, type The Room Flower Shop.
And you'll see how bad it is. It's horrible.
And the volume, like, in film school, and if you know anything about film, you learn about perspective of the camera, where the point of view is. But the volume of the audio in this part stays the same. Johnny comes in, and it's a certain volume, and he's walking away, and it's the same volume. It's not like getting fainter and fainter.
Yeah, it's beginner to amateur acting. Obviously. I mean,
Oh
it has to be
God.
all beginners. It had to be the only people that came to the audition they accepted.
If you look up any of these actors on IMDb, you will see The Room and maybe 2 or 3 other credits, if even that. Actually, the guy who played Mark had done a good amount of other stuff, but everyone else...
Was that one girl...
There was one actress in it who was a way
she was
supporting actress, who was like the girlfriend of Lisa. She was one of Lisa's girlfriends, and she was okay.
She was
but Lisa's mom was just, what are you thinking about your life? Why aren't you gonna marry Johnny?
like there's a cue card there.
Yeah.
Like she's reading right from the prompter the cue card, and you can tell. She looks at it, and then she looks at the person she's talking to. It's pretty funny.
That's another thing that happened. There were so many... I learned this phrase because of listening to the commentaries on Scrubs. Bill Lawrence, the creator of Scrubs, whenever someone looks at the camera, it's called spiking the lens. And we had a bunch of lens spikers in this movie. It was... I mean, and that takes you out of the film completely. It's like, oh, there's no fourth wall anymore.
I actually wrote this down. Ho fo show.
Why would you write that down, Kenny?
Because Lisa in this movie hooks up with other people, and she's just so slutty the entire movie. She doesn't care.
She hooks up with Mark while she's engaged to Johnny. and she can't get enough of Mark, and Mark's Johnny's best friend. So that's where the drama ensues.
How many sex scenes were with Mark?
2, and 2 with Johnny.
Exactly.
And
way too many sex scenes.
There's 4, and these things are dragged out so long.
It's like a 20-minute sex scene.
Exactly. Well, combined, like seriously, 20 minutes of the movie is just sex scenes out of like a movie that's an hour and 40 minutes. So, like a good 20% of the movie is sex scenes. And if you have a song during the scene, that entire song would play from start to finish. It wouldn't just be cuts, maybe, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, that's it. The entire thing would play. So we had to fast forward through it because
it's just boring to watch.
Doesn't develop the story at all. Okay, they're in love, they're having sex. Oh, wait. Oh, she loves Mark. They'll do it on the stairs. And then, hey, they'll do it again. Even though Mark is so resilient, he's like, oh, I'm not going to do that. Whatever, let's just do it. You already screwed up enough. Let's do this.
The music in this movie was absolutely horrible. It was the same soundtrack, if you could even call it a soundtrack. Almost throughout the whole entire movie, it sounded exactly the same. It was way too repetitive.
And it seemed like it wouldn't fit this kind of film. I mean, it sounded like it was music made for a student film, but this was... It looked like a student film with kind of a budget. It was made, I think, in 2003, or was released in 2003. But the soundtrack was pretty much just like these strings, and whenever there was a sex scene, there was this really awful 90s soulful R&B music sung by a boy band or a hip-hop star of that time. There's another resident in the apartment complex named Denny, or Denny?
Danny?
It's not Danny.
Whatever, it sounds like Danny, Denny.
Denny. Yeah, whatever his name is.
Something like that.
He's supposed to be like an 18, 19-year-old kid who's going to college because Johnny is paying his tuition because I guess Danny's parents are dead or kicked him out of the house, or we never really find out what the story is. Johnny's paying his tuition to go to college, and for some reason this kid is always around when he shouldn't be.
Yeah. Yep. Sex scenes.
In the first... Johnny comes home... He brings Lisa in the first scene when Johnny comes home. He brings Lisa a dress. She tries it on. Danny walks in. Hey guys, whoa, Lisa, you look hot, or whatever he said. And she's like, thanks. And then they go up to their bedroom, and Danny's like, can I come? And Johnny says, Danny, no, three's a crowd. But Danny walks upstairs anyway while they're doing it, and like jumps in the bed with them. And this kid's like. That would be like me walking up to people doing it and jumping in the bed with them and be like, hey, what's going on, you two? And
it's pretty bad.
This kid is obsessed with what, Kenny? What's he always carrying around with him?
He's always carrying around the stupid football. He always wants to play catch.
Anywhere.
Why?
With anyone. Anytime.
Nobody knows why either. Alright, you like football, but... anytime you talk to somebody, hey, you want to play catch?
Oh, nice one, Mark. You ready for it, Johnny? Ah, good one, Peter. And he talks like that. And
there was very, very, very bad ADR. Matt, what does ADR stand for?
ADR stands for Automated Dialogue Replacement. And what that means, pretty much whenever you see a mouth moving with sound that doesn't quite sound like it belongs there, like it was done after the film because it was recorded very poorly on set. That's what it is.
And most of it was. So, Matt, what's that one line that Johnny has?
All right, there's a line that Johnny has after he is accused by Lisa. Lisa tells her mom that Johnny got drunk and hit her. And then Johnny hears this and runs out to the roof. And he says, I did not hit her. It's not true. I did not hit her. It's bullshit. I did not. And if you look this scene up on YouTube, go look for The Room High Mark. You will see exactly. He opens his mouth when he says not. Like it's not like, I did not. He goes,
it's almost like he screamed it.
Yeah, I did not. And he closes his eyes and throws his water bottle. You can hear the water bottle hitting the ground perfectly. But... just so many, because his English is so bad. There's a scene where these other people who live in the apartment complex come into Johnny and Lisa's apartment to, I guess, get it on. And what happens is they start undressing, and the guy takes out some chocolate, and he holds it up to the girl, and he says, you know, chocolate is the symbol of love. And I've heard that chocolate is an aphrodisiac, but I've never heard that it's the actual symbol of love. I thought a heart was, or Cupid, but no, guess what? It's chocolate.
The facial expressions in this movie, no good. They were used too many times. They were just bad in general. It was a lot of, the corny facial expressions. Yeah, It was just horrible.
And then the one facial expression in the scene
that guy.
Yeah, when the girl is, starting to mess around with him, he just makes a face, and there's a picture you will see. It's just him. The movie takes place in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Between every scene, there's just a shot of San Francisco. Either it's Alcatraz or the Golden Gate Bridge or one of the streets and a cable car. But
they used it almost every other transition.
They tried to bash it into our heads like this movie takes place in San Francisco, when in reality, it could have taken place anywhere. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, they go outside to a park once. It's never specified which park it is. They show the building where they live. Just an exterior shot of Johnny driving up with his car. That could have been anywhere. I mean, being in San Francisco, it doesn't help.
The action scenes in this movie, what do you think, Matt?
Well, I like to counter that by saying, what action scenes?
Exactly.
Because the only action scene I really remember when they're trying to draw some suspense is when Mark is on the roof with Peter, who's another one of Johnny's friends, and is trying to figure out why Mark and Johnny start having this tension between them. His name is Peter, and he is like I think he's a psychiatrist in real life. Well, in the movie, he's a psychiatrist, and then he asks Johnny questions, and then Johnny's like, why was trying to play psychiatrist with us? You don't even know what's going on. So Mark and Peter are up on the roof, and Peter's like, you're having an affair with Lisa, aren't you? And then Mark's all defensive. He's like, fuck you, Peter. And then he grabs him and holds him over the ledge.
Ooh,
and he's like, are you crazy, man? You get off me, man. You're crazy. What's awesome about the roof in this movie is that there's a roof set, and then it's blue or green screen all around. So you see how poorly this thing... Actually, I have to give them credit for doing that, because it takes a lot of guts to not find an actual roof. They just blue screened everything and had the city moving behind them.
I don't want to talk about it. Lisa, how many times did she say, I don't want to talk about it? After a very important conversation, or in the middle of a very important...
That she would start.
Yeah. She says, I don't want to talk about it. She gets in-depth and it's a cliffhanger.
Whether it be with her mom,
anything,
Johnny, Mark,
everybody.
One of her girlfriends.
I don't want to talk about it.
It'd be like me saying, hey, Kenny, how'd you like that football game the other day?
Which one?
I don't want to talk about it. And all the people, finally, her mom called her out and was like, why'd you bring it up if you don't want to talk about it? And she's like, shut up, Mom. You don't even know what's good for me.
Johnny had that one scene when he was on the couch. What was he doing? At the end of the movie, when Lisa had almost basically betrayed him.
Oh, and said she was going to leave him for Mark.
Yep. What, can you do that for us?
Johnny walks down the stairs yelling, why, Lisa, why?
Then he sits on the couch, then what?
He sits on his couch.
For a good, what was it, a good
chair.
minute and a half? Just sitting there?
Yeah.
Same shot, just...
It just goes, ah! 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 And at the end of the movie, Johnny shoots himself in the mouth and dies, and everyone cries over him. Like, us sitting here talking about it does not do it justice on how bad it is. This is probably, It's not a Troll 2, which is a funny, awful movie. It's
somewhat entertaining.
It's so entertaining to watch, especially with friends and stuff. I watched The Room by myself and was laughing out loud at some parts just because of how bad it was. And then I watched it with Kenny and I was laughing at parts because of how bad it is. But if you want to do yourself a favor and find a good, bad movie, do Troll 2. Not The Room. If you want to watch The Room, better have something with you, some kind of alcohol or drugs.
Or bring a book along.
Or a
just
book,
in case.
yeah. Find some good reading material to read during this.
Oh, I'm not going to say it's not worth watching. It's worth watching just to see how bad it is.
And to say, hey, I watched The Room, and my God,
So when people talk to you, hey, did you ever see The Room? You know what it is. That's the only reason why I'd say.
Yeah.
And
if anyone wants to bring it up in a topic, as a topic in conversation. Yeah. But besides that, stay away from this movie at all costs. If someone dares you to watch it, make sure you're getting paid very well during the dare. If you guys want to request anything, I've been getting some requests and probably going to do some of those soon. Leave a comment or video response to, if you have seen The Room, leave a comment or video response on how you thought it was. And, you know, I want to hear everyone's opinions because, my God.
But
if you think it's good, why? Why even bother, like, trying to defend this? Hey, Tommy Wiseau, if you're watching this and you think the film is good, I want you to tell me down there what's so great about it. That is your challenge, sir. But besides that, that's it. See you next time.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you very much.